Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to the When We Were Kids, a Time Capsule Toys podcast. Toy Hio returns October 12th. Early bird tickets are on sale now, as are Super Early Bird. Super Early Bird are extremely limited. They are only available on Eventbrite, so get them because they're like, 75% gone. Guests include Wardlow, Harley Cameron, Danhausen. I got contacted by some other people. I'm waiting to hear back. Some people want to return, bring some new people, all that fun stuff. So we got to wait and find out what's going on there. It's always a surprise to me, as it is to you. We are now here with Greg. He is the, we'll say, I was going to say something clever, but mine just went blank. He is the third piece to the triangle that is the Butler Area Toy Show. That's what I was actually going to say. Mm-hmm. And I blanked completely. With that being said, hello, Greg.
Hello, Rick. Yes, I'm completing your KRG hat trick today. You had Rob, you had Ken, you got me.
He's the G in KRG. Mm-hmm. Which just made me think of WKRP in Cincinnati for some reason. Anyways, show returns when?
January 26th. Butler Area Toy Show. At the Clearview Mall in Butler, PA. Yeah, and I'm totally not checking my notes to make sure I didn't flub that number.
I always have to, I don't remember. I don't think I have it written down in my notes either. I have a schedule of my shows I do, so. Anyways. So Butler Area Toy Show returns, Clearview Mall in January. Once again, it has the awesome tagline of...
Yes, Saturday the 25th. Yes.
There we go. Mm-hmm. The 25th.
Feels like such a long ways away, but it's really not.
No, because it'll be here before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And a place for you to spend all your Christmas money.
Mm-hmm.
It is the toy show that's in the mall. But anyways. So I've known you for many years. I think we met at horror conventions. I'm almost positive. I think it was Horror Realm.
I do believe it was Horror Realm. Yep.
So I was doing Horror Realm for many, many, many years. I'm about to be, this month, I'm going to be 43. Mm-hmm. My heart cries. But I started doing Horror Realm, oh God, I don't even know how long ago it was. I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it's been around that long. I don't know how it's been around that long, but it has been. I mean, they took a small hiatus and stuff like that. But. So I met you at horror conventions, and then from there, our friendship has blossomed into toy shows, conventions, you coming in the shop, all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Wrestling shows.
Oh, yeah.
Went and saw Guar, and you were there.
Yes, we saw Guar together.
So let's take you back to being a child. Because that's what this is all about. Mm-hmm. So, what is your earliest, toy memory?
My earliest toy memory.
That really sticks out to you as a kid?
I'm going to say, well, my memories in my head, I was born August 1980. My memories in my head start, I'd say, late 1983, early 1984. But before that, I just have little bits and pieces here and there, which I guess is still pretty good. But earliest thing I remember having a figure of the Thing from the Fantastic Four. It was made of rubber, and I remember it was already starting to come apart, and I think I pulled his arm off, and I think that might be my earliest memory of a toy. Is this thing? They were actually, I looked it up, and they were actually made by the Ben Cooper Costume Company.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a few rubber jiggler figures of Marvel superheroes, and the Thing was one that they did. So if I can ever find one of them again, that's kind of my white whale for toy collecting right now. So I'll save you asking that question.
Well, thank you. So there you go. I never even knew that Ben Cooper did toys. I thought they were only costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was those, just solid rubber figures. And they did, I think, Superman and Batman, and then they started doing Marvel. They did Spider-Man and Captain America, and then they did Doctor Strange and the Thing, and I think the only bad guy they did was the Red Skull. It was Kind of an odd selection, but it was cool.
Yeah, out of everyone you have for Marvel, you do the Red Skull.
Yeah,
Maybe
they
because it was the easiest. Just paint his body and arms green and his head red.
That's probably why they picked him, honestly, because, Doctor Doom, you need the big cape, and they already had a big cape with Doctor Strange, and it's hard to find them with any of that cape remaining.
Yeah. So crazy. Yeah, like I said, I never knew Ben Cooper did toys. That's crazy. Speaking of Ben, we'll go with this since you just mentioned Ben Cooper. Did you ever actually get to own any Ben Cooper costumes when you were a kid?
I had at least one. I think two. I don't know, because there was Ben Cooper, and then there was like Collegeville, which was like the same thing, but they were like competing brands.
Yeah.
So really, they're same exact thing. But yeah, I think 1983, 84, I had the E.T. costume, and I still have pictures of me wearing that around. And after I outgrew that, I do believe I had Mum Ra from Thundercats, because I don't really remember wearing the costume for Trick or Treat, but I do remember playing with that mask all the time. I mean, I remember setting that up, and I think I somehow took a chair and made and put a jacket on it and made like a mannequin with Mum Ra's head on it. And I remember playing with that. But I don't actually remember using it to get candy. But I had fun either way.
I had a costume. I remember vaguely wearing like a Ben Cooper-esque costume because all I remember is, one, it was hard to breathe.
Yeah.
Two, you couldn't really talk or whatever because when you would talk or whatever, your tongue would get cut from the little slit that you're supposed to talk through.
Yes.
So I know I had one. I just don't know what, but I know I had one. I know this weekend I passed on I've been wanting one forever, but someone had a My Pet Monster,
Oh.
like Ben Cooper Halloween mask at the flea market. But I'm like, if I'm getting it, I have to have like the full costume. I don't want just a mask. I want the stupid plastic suit you have to put on. That's
The
like
smock.
the smock that's borderline a body bag with legs and pants.
Radioactive Man wouldn't wear a shirt with his name on it. He would on Halloween. Yeah, that mask, you put it on, and like within 5 seconds, it's just full of condensation because it's starting to get cold outside, and it's
Your hot breath is just blown in your face.
yeah.
It's miserable. And then, of course, because Ben Cooper costumes too, when you'd wear them, it'd say like My Pet Monster and have a picture of like My Pet Monster on it or whatever. And then old people always be like, "Oh, what are you?" It's like what, you can't read?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah, just tap the shirt. Yeah.
Like, old people. No, that's us. Except for now when people are trick or treating, I just go, "What the hell is that supposed to be?"
Yeah. This year, I'm expecting to see way too many children dressed as Art the Clown. Kids who really have no business seeing the Terrifier films. But I have a funny feeling it's going to be popular anyway.
That's gonna be popular. A lot of Deadpools.
Again, kids really shouldn't be going to see that movie. I mean, if you read some of the comics, you're okay. But actually, most of the comics are probably fine. But the movies, I don't know.
Oh, I agree. Trust me.
But what do I know? I'm just I don't know. I'm a helicopter parent or something.
As am I. So, we're going from Halloween, switching to a different holiday, which would be birthdays, because birthdays are holidays for kids.
Oh, absolutely.
So, when you were growing up, was there like back in the day when we were growing up? Now a lot of adults do it still. I think it's because it's burned into our brain from being children. Do you have a special theme from a birthday that has always stuck with you?
Special theme from a birthday. Well, theme, I suppose under theme you could say going to a restaurant and so mom doesn't have to clean up the house afterwards. And because I remember
that's what we started doing with our kids. Because I'm like, I ain't cleaning them any more smash cake. I'll pay someone to do it.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 year I had it at Burger King, and then a couple years in a row I did Pizza Hut, and that was peak Pizza Hut when it was still a destination. It's not the sorry excuse that it's become now. They really need to revisit their roots, in my humble opinion. But I'm not a pizza executive, so yeah. I remember it must have been my 11th birthday, because 1991, when Nickelodeon's Nicktoons all came out and they did the cross promotion with that. I remember getting the color changing green plastic cups with Doug and Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy on them.
I didn't even know those were a thing.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, I had multiples of all of them. Now I think I only have one of each, and I need to, when I get home, I need to dig those out, because that's been in the back of my head, and I just keep forgetting to dig them out and look at them, because I've been on a little bit of a Ren and Stimpy bender lately since I met Billy West at Steel City Con. But yeah, like they were like light green, and you'd pour Pepsi in them or whatever, and they'd start to turn dark, and they'd look like Nickelodeon slime, and yeah, they were pretty cool. That's probably the safer way for me to serve beverages to guests at home, rather as opposed to the actual glassware from the 70s with the lead paint in it. They look pretty, but yeah, not so good for the health.
The only time we ever had pizza growing up is when I filled out my Book It thing with all the stars.
Oh yeah.
So we would get Pizza Hut then, because I would get my pizza for free, and that was the only way we ever got Pizza Hut. Because my parents complained it cost too much money.
Yeah, that was a big reason why we went too. And I read a lot. I got pretty good grades. So yeah, I had my fill of that.
I did not get very good grades, but I read a lot just to get free pizza.
Hey, you did your part then.
I did. I can't tell you what I read, but read a lot. Do you remember from any of those birthdays the best gift you ever gotten? To your knowledge and your memories, you can close your eyes. You can still imagine your excitement of opening it and be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I got this."
Ooh, wow. For birthdays, birthday. Christmases I remember really well. Birthdays, I know I got plenty of good stuff. Maybe. Yeah. I'm thinking one year I got, it must have been, I bet I was 6 years old or so. I'm thinking I got the Mattel Mad Scientist Monster Lab.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a really phenomenal toy. It was, although it's a little sadistic looking back, because the whole objective is to build monsters and then kill them. And it says it like you put up this tank and you make this monster out of whatever Play-Doh stuff that it comes with, and you mix it with a little bit of I guess baking soda powder, and then you put like the vinegar crystals in the water, and you dunk your little guy in there, and he completely dissolves into nothing. So, and it says on the box, like, build hideous monsters and sizzle the flesh off their bones. It's like, it's a wonder there aren't more psychopaths out there from playing with these things. It's just me? I don't know.
Oh, there's lots of psychopaths out there.
Yeah.
The problem is they're playing with dead animals.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this was like
or
the
making
first
the animals
step there.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, step number one. Step number two is the neighbor's cat, Mr. Twinkles. They probably have their own card, that terrorist card set that came out. That still baffles me. That is a thing. I thought about this earlier. I don't know. I think because going back to another episode, I talked about the stupid hat I wanted when I was a kid. I never got. Is there any clothing trend from when you were a kid you would wish would come back? Like when you were growing up, you thought it was like the coolest thing ever, and now as an adult, you're like, damn, why isn't that coming back?
Wow. Well, I pretty much dress the same way as I did when I was a kid. So that is for me. I mean, I'll wear what I want, and I don't care what anyone thinks. I know there's a lot of shirts I had when I was a kid that I wish I still had. Like our trip to Universal Studios in 1993. I remember getting a shirt from the King Kong ride there, and I wore it a few times, and then I don't know what happened to it, and I wish I still had that. But as far as actual clothing styles, I don't care. I wear what I want any day. So, but as far as cool shirts I had, yeah, there's All my wrestling shirts I had when I was a kid. I mean, they're not going to come close to fitting me, but yeah, kind of wish I still had them.
What's the There's two things that just popped in my head while you were saying that. Once again, two things I never had as a kid.
Yeah.
That's the recurring theme on this show. Zubaz.
Oh yeah, the old Road Warrior pants. Yeah,
That a lot of the old school guys still wear. Old school wrestlers wear to this day when they're doing meet and greets. They're wearing Zubaz. I actually saw Honky Tonk Man at WrestleCon wearing Zubaz, and he cut the bottoms off because they were too long.
So like Zubaz capris or something.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, oh my god.
Again, the Honky Tonk Man don't care what you think of his style. He's going to wear his pants just the way he wants to.
Yeah, he's a special human being. And I can tell you a lot of people didn't care for him because he was kind of off on his own little world because they didn't put him by like a lot of the other guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Honky Tonk section. Wow.
Yeah. But the other thing was, I think it was called surf style. Those pullover jackets that were like green and like pink and yellow, but they kind of look like an oil spill.
Yeah, there's those.
I always wanted one, but I never got one because they didn't make kids sizes. They were like for like cool teenagers that wanted to dress like they were from California.
Yeah, any of the loud pastel colors like that, the neon things. There's a couple trends that I think actually could come back. Any Bart Simpson sports team shirts.
Those would be sweet if someone brought those back.
And, Simpsons bootleg shirts in general with...
like the Jamaican ones. And
they're just so ridiculous and saying things that Bart would not have actually said.
And not even looking like Bart.
Yeah, it's severely off-model Bart Simpson.
I'd be happy if bootleg Simpson shirts came back in style.
And yeah, Looney Tunes is to a lesser degree, but yeah, Bart Simpson.
The old Kid and Play, or not Kid and Play, the old crisscross Looney Tune Taz and Bugs Bunny shirts. I'm sure those are worth a ton of money now.
Yeah, and I guess Bart was kind of the peak of that, but before that, you had stuff like Alf wearing every costume under the sun on a T-shirt.
I love me some Alf.
Oh, same.
That was the one who, going back to the theme birthday and stuff like that. I actually had I don't know if I saw the picture or not. The one birthday cake I had was Alf.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what it said. I just know it had Alf on it. I can tell you that I didn't get anything Alf. Like, I didn't get the plush. If anything, my parents probably just gave me those stupid Burger King hand puppets. Because they wouldn't buy me the actual Alf doll. Because no matter how many times you asked for it, never got it.
Yeah. Well, the Burger King hand puppets came with those little flexi disc records with Alf singing a song on them, though.
Yes. And we didn't have a record player.
Oh.
So I'm like, whatever, I'll play with my Alf hand puppets while I watch Alf.
Yeah.
A couple episodes ago, we actually started talking about video games because I always forget that like video games growing up for me were a huge part of my childhood. A huge part.
Same.
So sitting around, like I said, every show I'm trying to do different, ask different questions, take some of the old questions, ask them again, like mix things up. So sitting there while doing this, I thought about something. What video games should have had a movie? What video game from being a kid that you used to play all the time, you think should have had a movie? I wrote down 3. And literally, these were the first ones that came to my head, and I just wrote them down. Usually, that's how I do things. I have the question, and I just write down my 3 answers that pop in my head right that second. I have Maniac Mansion.
Yeah, which had a TV show.
Yes.
But not a movie. Yeah.
Not a movie, and it was not very good.
Yeah, it had Joe Flaherty from SCTV, and he was always good. But yeah, I have real vague memories of it. It didn't hold my attention. Maybe if I revisited it, but yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I think it should have had Maniac Mansion. If Maniac Mansion had a movie, if you could have made it like dark, like a dark comedy, pretty much, I think it would have worked.
Yeah, it might have fit the tone of the game better.
Yes. And then, of course, the bad people had to have green faces.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't, then they have to have a whole scene of putting a hamster in the microwave. Castlevania, not an anime, live action Castlevania. How they never did that, much like before we talked about how Castlevania never got action figures back in the day. Like, could you imagine? That could have been a great R-rated property to have a toy line.
Yeah, it's right there. I mean, yeah, those characters are pretty much all public domain, and yeah, they just didn't have their act together or it never occurred to them to start putting the pieces together.
Come on now, Konami, you turds.
Yeah.
Another Konami one that could have been a movie. Mind you, would have to change the ending because obviously you would kind of know how it ended. Because who wants to see the big bad be a giant heart? But Contra. You could have had like Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Or you could have had Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Yeah, the time was ripe then. Yeah. Yeah, which, you mentioned not wanting to give away the ending. Could they have pulled off a Metroid movie, live action movie? I mean, like with the reveal.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, how long could you keep the secret of Samus being female? Which was a big deal when you beat that game back in the day. Yeah, Samus is like the most kick-ass dude. Whoa, it's a girl. Whoa.
That would have been all. I never thought about a Metroid movie. That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I mean, that game was creepy enough as it was. And
I think it was the first. That was actually like the first video game I ever beat as a kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Metroid would have been a good movie. The costume would have been sweet.
Yeah, I guess that's the one that they could still pull off because Nintendo's having a little bit better luck with movies lately.
Yeah. Any other games that stick out in your head from being a kid? Well, the reason why I thought of this also was because they made a Super Mario Brothers movie. It's like, and that stunk. Like, nothing looked like how it was supposed to look except for Mario and Luigi.
I saw that at the theater, yeah.
But, like, there are so many other games. I mean, those are just the first three I thought of off the top of my head. I'm sure I could think about, like, 20 more that could have been made into movies.
Yeah.
And, like, there's tons of just action games that could have been turned into movies. Like, Jackal. I'm trying to think. Oh, Operation Wolf.
Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder. What other action games could have been turned into movies? I'm shocked that since they've done things like the Barbie movie. Oh, there's another one I wanted to say that stuck out in my head, but my mind just went blank. But like, you could have done No One Wants a Wall Street Kid movie. I'm trying to think. Like, everyone keeps being in talks with like a Monopoly movie, which but
it'll be 6 hours long and everyone leaves halfway through because no one ever played that game to completion.
And there's no ending. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff like BJ, our producer here. He because of the podcast, he went and bought Gauntlet for Nintendo. Gauntlet would be a sweet movie.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, warrior needs food badly.
Like in my opinion, there's a bunch of games that could have had movies, but a lot of them just dropped the ball.
Yeah, and I did have the idea for what if, and it might be more of a fan film idea. I don't know that movie studios would ever have the guts to get quite this meta, but if they did a movie adaptation of a game adaptation of a movie, Friday the 13th, the game, the movie, like where Jason wears purple.
He just runs around the neighborhood in a tracksuit.
Yeah, he throws axes at you, or you have to fight him Punch-Out style.
You can. That's what I was gonna say. You can combine it. Friday the 13th with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and who was the guy who was always running after Little Mac on the bike?
Doc Lewis. Yep.
All right. So you have a scene where it's Doc Lewis chasing after Michael Myers, or not Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees in his tracksuit, or have Doc running as Jason chases him in his tracksuit. Because, I mean, one's wearing a sweatsuit, one's wearing a tracksuit.
Yeah, of course, then you'll have the problem of it'll be like Jason Takes Manhattan and he punches the dude's head off with one shot.
Yeah, he goes flying off into a trash can. And that you could probably do Mike Tyson's Punch-Out movie.
Yeah!
The possibilities are endless here. Nintendo, call me. Or don't. Whatever.
Let the casting begin for King Hippo, yeah.
Who would play King Hippo?
They'd probably chicken out and make him CG or something just to make him heavy enough. They don't want to. They don't want to be.
What's his name? Glass Joe.
Yeah.
Glass Joe, I think, would probably go to. Oh my god! I'm trying to imagine someone who has that ugly a face. I was gonna say if you put a mustache on Michael Richards, but he has to grow his hair back a little bit.
Yeah.
That would be my casting for Glass Joe.
Yeah, and he's done some things to make himself punchable a couple times over the years. So yeah.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Musical toys. Did you have any as a kid? The reason why I asked this question is just yesterday at the flea market, I found a toy that I mentioned on here before. Hit sticks. Found them in the box. Clean battery compartment, so I had to buy them. So that was the only musical toy. I may or may not have had a guitar as a kid. Can't really remember that, but I remember my hit sticks and then magically going missing. So did you ever have any musical toys that you were like, I had to have this, and then you got it, and you're like, this is the greatest thing ever? Because I know with my hit sticks, I was all over the place, all over the time, acting like Tommy Lee.
I don't remember really asking for too many toys that made too much commotion. So I don't think I ever asked for anything of that nature. Although I did have a little tape recorder that I would record my voice on a lot, and I actually found one of the tapes not too long ago. I was about 6 years old, and I was, I don't know, recording whatever was on my mind, and I tried to, I don't know, I was pestering my sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and yeah, so she would have been maybe 3 years old at that time, and I was bothering her because I wanted to play Ghostbusters, and she got all upset, like, "Hey, I'm telling," and then I just held up the recorder and said, "I think that's enough for now." Stopped it. It's like I had the skit rehearsed. And then I would record little audio snippets from the shows I watched. Like I found a chunk of Zoobilee Zoo, and I found a chunk of Silverhawks, and there were other things. I think there was a chunk of Fraggle Rock on one of them, one of those segments.
So you were more big on almost on, instead of musical toys, but your own Orson Welles story time cassette tapes, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Where you just terrorize your sister.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Toy line that you feel could make a comeback if they improved it. But I say improve, they make it look better, more playable, unlike those new Cowboys of Moo Mesa figures that look awful.
Yeah, I kind of missed the boat on Cowboys of Moo Mesa. They came out just as I was starting to age out of that stuff temporarily. So, yeah, so I never had any of those. What else would be good to resurrect? Stuff I had as a kid.
Or even if something you say your neighbor had something, you always wanted it, and
the neighbor kid had everything. Yeah.
And then you were think about it now and just be like, man, if they would bring that back and just tweak this a little bit, these would be sweet.
Just a thought. What about, has Hasbro ever considered bringing back Visionaries?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because they were cool looking, and I had I don't even remember the dude's name, the lead good guy. I don't remember
any of their names.
Yeah, I remember my yeah, my mom and my grandma went shopping, and that was the treat I got brought home from that, and probably from Hills, but yeah, I mean the holograms on the chest were cool. If they could really trick them out and somehow add some sort of projector mechanism into them, wouldn't that be sweet?
That would be sweet, because I thought about...
Expensive as heck, but yeah.
Oh, it would be very expensive.
Yeah, but you know, these things are for people our age now. I mean...
Yeah, like Visionaries is a very... I don't want to say sought-after toy line, but they're hard to find. Mm-hmm. Their holograms are always missing on the chest. They're always missing on their staffs. The vehicles are about impossible to find.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had vehicles.
Yeah, well, they never had a play set. But there was a couple vehicles. I like how I can remember the name of one of the vehicles, but I can't remember the name of any of the characters. There was a vehicle called like the Dagger. I think there was another one called the Lancer. But Visionaries, they're the same size as GI. For people who are listening, don't know about Visionaries, they're about the same size as GI Joes. Almost look just like GI Joes, except for they had holograms that popped into their chests.
Similar construction. Yep.
Similar construction, all that stuff. They didn't make a whole lot of figures.
It was like one line, basically. I don't think they did a second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably one of those ones where if you were a fan of, I don't even remember if there was a female character on the show, but they probably were saving her for the second wave, and then the second wave never came. So if you wanted the female character, you were out of luck.
Yeah, but imagine this too. So you say Visionaries and like having them like project their hologram, which would be awesome, but it would be about as much money as that new transforming Optimus Prime.
Oh, yeah.
What if they did Visionaries, but made it in the scale of like Black Series and G.I. Joe Classified?
There you go. As long as they still have the holograms.
Oh, they have to have them. That's what they're known for.
Yeah, well, as long as they don't find a way to cheap out, yeah.
Just make it a sticker. Or what about even like the old school like Battle Beast and Transformers rubs?
Oh, the rubs. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Visionaries are sweet. It had a cartoon series.
Yeah.
That I think the dude from the guy who did the Cobra Commander's voice.
Chris Latta, yep.
He did a voice on that, I believe. He also did a voice on Dino Riders. And a voice on Humanoids. His voice never changed. It was Cobra Commander for everything.
Yeah. I mean, Starscream was basically that voice just with modulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was on the first season of The Simpsons, too. He was the original Moe the bartender.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, like he was on like a few episodes of that, and then they got rid of him and got Hank Azaria.
Okay.
So
because they're like, oh, you could do more voices than just Cobra Commander.
I guess so. Yeah.
I ask about that toy line thing because I brought props today.
All right. Yeah, and I'm ashamed I did not.
My toy line, if we could redo it, which I mentioned these before, I'm going to take a couple of them out here. Because I'm going to let you play with a couple as I play with a couple. If I can get them out. Oh my god, he's stuck. There we go. There you go. You have like the commander and whatever the heck that guy is.
The general. Oh, do you have like a cigar he could smoke?
I don't even know. Army ants. See the little butts? I'd pull them off as a kid and pop them back on.
Yeah. Oh, that was the whole point, to like have their guts you could squish, because
again, so it's pop them off, pump them back on. But if you could do army ants, make them more colorful and stuff like that. Like they only came in like what? I think blue and orange. I think those are the only colors they had.
That's the only ones I remember. Yeah.
And some had yellow butts, some had green butts, whatever. But there's a bunch. This one looks like a scuba diver. I'm guessing he was supposed to have, I don't know, something in his hand, like a harpoon or something. This one was supposed to have, I don't know what the hell this one was supposed to have. Probably a spear or a gun or something.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little commander guy. Here's a sniper. But if you could do these again, he was supposed to have something too, because he has holes in his back, so he probably was supposed to have a backpack.
Oh, this one thinks he's Rambo. Look at him.
Yeah, I know. He's sweet.
Yeah.
They're amazing. If you could redo army ants, this is my thing. If I would redo them, I would do them in the scale of Ninja Turtles. Because then you can incorporate Anthrax from Ninja Turtles with them.
Oh, yeah. He could be like some outlaw from their species.
Yeah. But like you could do army ants, because then you can actually have their arms move. They come with actual accessories. You can do vehicles. You can do a playset. Like you just have the anthill playset. But yeah, so that's what my props I brought today were army ants.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. I never had any of these.
I only had one pack, and I don't remember where I got them or anything. But as I played the hell out with these things like constantly. I was obsessed with them, and I took them because they were also easy for me to take in the car.
Yeah.
So I think in a pack you got like 4 maybe. But I love I love playing the hell out of these things.
Yeah, I remember my friends had them, so I did play with them, but I myself did not. I remember the commercial for them, and like there was a line in the commercial that kind of stuck out where one of the kids says something about they're attacking the eggs or protect the eggs. Like, so these guys were like committing ant war crimes, like slaughtering all their unborn or something. Wow, this general dude is hardcore. Do not mess with him. He belongs at The Hague or something on trial.
It's funny because when we were kids, like those were appropriate like stories to play and stuff like that. But now it's no, not anymore. Earlier, before we went live, we were talking, and I said, "Man, I'm going to ask this question because we're both laughing about it. If there was, it could be any TV series. What TV series would you give a toy line to?"
Ooh, yeah, and that one is challenging. The Young Ones.
The Young Ones. It's so challenging that you couldn't even get the word challenging out of your mouth before you blurted out.
Well, some challenges solve themselves, and this one did.
So, from the Young Ones, who would you have made? Like, would you have what? How many characters would you have in your first line? Would you have any play sets? Any vehicles?
Well, you've got to have Rick, Neil, Vivian, Mike. The core 4, and then probably their landlord, Mr. Belofsky, and there really wasn't a huge cast on that show. So honestly, you could probably do 2. The guy Alexei Sale, who played their landlord, played multiple characters of the Belofsky family. You could probably do 2 of them. Do like the landlord Jerzy Belofsky, and I don't know, the man-child Billy Belofsky or something, and. The playset, you could probably have first floor of their apartment with, their dingy kitchen, and I don't know, Vivian's hamster pops out of something.
The dingy kitchen playset.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, that's one line that I would be shocked to see on shelves, but it is also one line that I never thought to even think of.
Yeah, and it's a BBC property, so it would probably have to go through whatever channels that like the Doctor Who figures go through.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe they'd be to scale with that.
Mine that I told you earlier that we were laughing about would be Married with Children. Yes, we know they did Funko Pops. They did like fake Migos.
And they did like 3 3/4, I think, reaction type ones.
Yes.
It was just one box set.
But if we could go back through and make actual action figures, like back when the show was on the air, it would be the possibilities are endless. Obviously,
have them you
have Al with hand and pants action. You have Bud with blow up doll accessory. You have Kelly with no accessories. You have Peg. Then you can buy Peg's couch separately. Actually, you could probably have Buck with Kelly.
Yeah,
or even Lucky.
Work. Yeah,
their dog later on. You could have the house play set.
Yeah, Al's got to have this couch.
You could have the basement play set that's missing the one stair. The garage.
The Dodge.
The Dodge is the one and only vehicle released. The supermarket playset from one of the best episodes ever. There's gonna be a lot of playsets in my toy line.
The Jiggly Room.
The Jiggly Room playset with hidden hatch that brings you up onto the stage. The shoe store.
Oh, absolutely.
The shoe store would have to come with. It is the only way to get the fat woman.
Yeah.
Oh God, what else could there be? The Winker County playset with Uncle Hootie, who looks like part. As they said, we saw a man who looked like he was. We saw someone that looked like they were part man, part owl. Oh, they met Uncle Hootie. Then another place that I mentioned would be Peg's mother, because we never get to see her, but the way they describe her, and like when she's upstairs living with them, and every time she's like, "Oh God, she's shaking herself dry," and pieces of the ceiling would fall down. So you'd have to. She would be so big, you have to make her own playset.
Yeah. It would be sort of like when they did Inspector Gadget, and that's when you finally saw Dr. Claw's face. Well, this is when you'd finally see Peg's mom.
Exactly, because that's a good point. People may not know this. Dr. Claw, you never saw his face to the cartoon. Ever. You only got to see his face when you bought the action figure. And he had a piece of paper across his face so you couldn't see what it looked like because you had to buy it and open it.
Yep.
And then be terribly disappointed.
Yeah, and you'd see it was like a guy making a face like, I guess.
Yes. And he has had white crazy hair.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, Married to Children, possibilities are endless. I mean, you could have the Polk High Field.
Yeah. Of Anthrax.
Yes, there you go. Back to last week's episode. I get my Anthrax figures. And then they come with the mystery meat. It's green and it's breathing. It's warm, but it was in the fridge. Man, there's so many other. Oh, then you can have Steve. You can have Darcy. You can have Jefferson. Kelly's boyfriend, interchangeable heads.
King Kong Bundy. You can bring him in.
You incorporate King Kong Bundy from your LJNs. What else? That show, I've been rewatching it so much because it's constantly on. It's on Logo. Like they like play episodes like 2 days in a row straight before they go into like The Nanny, RuPaul's Drag Race, something else, and something else. And it goes, and I always watch it and I laugh just as hard as I did the first time. That show does not get old. And like I remember watching it growing up, and I would laugh at the stuff. And half the time I didn't know what the hell I was even laughing at. But now I watch it and I laugh. When as a kid, I was laughing at just Al being mean. And now I'm watching it and I just laugh at everyone because that show's just comedy gold. And if we could have a playset of that show,
do a Let's Talking Al figure. It's rock.
Yes. Oh my God, you can have so many different Al when he's on the motorcycle with long hair.
Al with his football jersey.
Poke High Al.
Yeah.
You could have when he worked at the bar for the women with no shirt and he only wore a bow tie. And he'd do that really awful dance.
Yeah. YSU alumnus Ed O'Neill, right?
Yes, he was from Youngstown. Another one, Al in an owl costume when he got shot out of the tree. You could have a Christmas playset with Al, with Sam Kinison. That's like one of my favorite episodes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, we don't have a Sam Kinison figure, do we?
No.
I sure can't think of one.
No, that episode is hands down one of the greatest Christmas episodes ever for any series. I will never forget when he's like, "Why'd you kill?" He goes, "I taught my wife." He said something along the lines of like, "I got back at her." He goes, "She was sleeping with my brother," and he goes, "How'd you find that?" I goes, "I found his teeth under my pillow." And he goes, "How'd you get her back?" He goes, "I killed myself." He goes, "You don't get any insurance for that." I'm just like, God, that episode was so good. It's like one of my favorite Christmas episodes ever of any show.
Yeah.
I could talk about Married to Children. I could just do a whole podcast on Married to Children. That and King of the Hill. Which King of the Hill is one of my favorite shows ever. It had its own toy line, but it was supposed to have a second wave. that never came out. If you look at the back of the card backs, it shows you looking over the fence who was supposed to be out in the next wave. So they were supposed to do, I think it was Con and Min, and then, oh my God, my mind just went blank on what their daughter's name was. Con Jr.
Con Jr., yep, Connie.
Yeah, Connie. Then, so Connie would come with Doggy. And then I think Chuck Mangione was supposed to get a figure.
That sounds vaguely familiar, yeah.
And then I forget who. Maybe Bucky.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or Buckley. That was his name. Buckley. But I can't remember. But yeah, I'll have to go home and look now in the back of my King of the Hill figures. But I would love if they would have came out with those, but they didn't. What is... I love asking these questions. I love horror stories about people's childhoods. It's like when you see those pictures of kids sitting on Santa Claus's lap when there's like screaming. Or they're sitting on the Easter Bunny's lap and he looks like a meth addict and the kid's screaming. What is like your worst toy memory? Like you got something that made you cry, or you just like got it for Christmas and you just like got up and walked out of the room because you were so mad. You have any of those?
Well, I can remember stuff breaking as soon as you take it out of the package. I think that counts.
Yes, that counts.
Yeah, because I remember one Christmas I got some Thundercats figures, and I got the Berserkers, like the Viking-ish pirate guys that they fought. They fought a lot of pirates on Thundercats.
They did.
Yeah. There was one of them called Ram Bam. He had like a ripcord you would pull, and he would run with a wheel on his belly. It was this short, stout fella, and I remember pulling the ripcord a little too hard, and it broke, and it came out, and so he was broken, so Mom had to take him back to Hills for me and exchange him, and I was pretty disappointed that I no longer had Ram Bam, because he was out of stock by the time Mom got back there, but I got Cruncher instead, and he was cool, because he had the bear hug action.
That was the blue one.
Yep.
Did you cry because you broke Ram Bam?
I didn't cry. I was just very disappointed. I just remember sitting there missing him. I think Mom must have taken him back within a few days, but it was a long few days, darn it.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me. It's funny that you did that with a Thundercat, because I, years ago, bought a collection off a guy. He had a Thunder Tank. It was his childhood thing, Thunder Tank. And he told me that he remembers taking it out of the package and pushing it across the floor. He said literally that first push, the treads just snapped.
Oh.
He goes, literally, you don't even get through a full push, and they just both broke.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
And I'm like, what is it with Thundercats toys?
Yeah, no quality at LJN or something. I don't know.
To keep on the theme of disappointments and heartbreak, do you ever have a very disappointing Christmas, or a Christmas gift that you're like, what is this? Like one of my classic ones is being so excited, and I got a sweatshirt that had it was like teal with like weird black spots all over it. I can close my eyes. I can still imagine I was so mad. And my mom wouldn't let me return it. It had two Dalmatians facing each other. And I don't know what company it was from. We didn't have Dalmatians, so I don't know why my grandma bought it for me. But like that, like sticks out in my head, and the fact that my mom made me wear it to school.
Probably the closest I came. There was one birthday when, or no, I guess it was. Actually, it might have been a Christmas. There were these. I remember there were these two really big box presents under the tree for me, and I'm just thinking, what could they be? What could they be? What could they be? And then I finally open them up, and they are storage crates for the stuff I already have. Oh, it's not some big awesome thing. It's storage to organize the crap I already have. Oh, and I got other good stuff, so I wasn't really in a position to complain. But it's like, yeah, the mystery of what could have been in that box was not what I had anticipated. That's probably the closest I ever came. Yeah.
I can only imagine little Greg opening up this stuff. So excited.
I was puzzled.
And then you're just like, these big boxes were just a big box.
Yeah.
Like, you just wrapped me a box. Like, why not just put a bow on it? Like, were you expecting sheer excitement out of me because you bought me a box to put stuff in?
Yeah, it was like a secondary or tertiary gift, I suppose, down the chain of stuff I got. But it worked out okay because I still use them to put my vinyl records in.
So all these years later, you're happy because you got them.
Yeah,
That initial point, you're like, milk crates that you stole from the back of the local grocery store.
Well, they were
you
store-bought
wrapped
milk
it.
crates, to be fair. I don't think they were stolen. I don't think.
I'm not accusing
They
your
were very
parents.
clean and nice.
I'm just making
Yeah, I know.
making assumptions of what other parents probably would be doing. So, do you remember your best toy gift ever? Like, you got it, and like you pretty much like Hulk Hogan'd up out of the limousine and no holds barred, like that excited.
Well, that's probably maybe the Game Genie for the NES because it made games actually playable that were way too friggin' difficult otherwise.
Thank you, Mom. I can beat Battletoads now.
Yeah, because I remember like kind of bouncing on my bed going, Game Genie, Game Genie, Game Genie before I even put the thing in my system. So that was definitely a game changer, no pun intended. Yeah.
Any action figures or anything like that?
Figures, well, it's hard to top Christmas 1983, I guess. That was, first one I remember because, my sister was born that year, and, Mom and Dad wanted to make sure I didn't feel neglected because, she was born a little premature, needed a little extra care, and so I got, basically an extra crap load of stuff that year. And then there's pictures of me surrounded by Return of the Jedi figures and the Jabba the Hutt playset and Castle Grayskull, which was, still the best playset ever for my money. And I think He-Man and Skeletor came along and maybe a few other figures. But I was swamped in stuff that year. So that was a good feeling.
That sounds like the most ridiculous Christmas ever. You had nothing but Star Wars, Masters of the Universe stuff.
Yeah.
They probably even got you a crown to wear.
I got the He-Man dress-up set. Yeah, there's pictures of me. It was like the plastic one with the two halves of the sword that stuck together.
Yes.
So there's pictures of me
by
the power of Grayskull in front of my
those
grandparents.
swords. Okay. You had to buy them individually, if memory serves me right, because I saw one package at a show. There was the yellow one and then like that gray one or whatever. Because I guess the yellow one was the Skeletor sword and the gray one was the He-Man sword.
That's my memory of it because I broke the gray one like almost instantly, and then I broke the yellow one a little bit later, and I just played with the stub of the yellow one.
Funny you mentioned the stub of the yellow one. I had that yellow sword. Mm-hmm. I loved that thing until the cartoon Pirates of Dark Water came out.
Oh.
And I loved that show so much. I still do. I think it's a great cartoon. Toy line's cool. I want a Wraith. I'll find one day. Like they're like impossible to find for some reason. Probably because no one bought them. I was so mad they did not make a toy of Ren's sword.
Yeah.
So I took scissors. I cut my yellow He-Man, my yellow Skeletor sword, to look like Ren's sword. Mm-hmm. So I cut it down, like did a weird curve thing that his had. Yeah. Because his was like broke in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. My parents got so mad at me. I freaking...
It's your toy. You improvise. You make it better.
And I don't know whatever happened. I know it got thrown away. I want one of those things so bad. I saw one like last year at a toy show. And I didn't buy it. I kicked myself. So I'll be doing tons of shows this fall. So I hope someone has it because I'm gonna buy that stupid thing and I'll bring it in here and show it off. But yeah, that memory of. So basically, what you're telling me is that I didn't have to cut it because it was probably gonna break on its own.
Yeah, the plastic's nice and easy to cut and easy to work with.
Yeah,
so it's good for customization.
Yeah, and I had the same yellow sword. Mm. Yours broke, and I cut mine so I could be Ren from Pirates of Dark Water, who I looked nothing like, and didn't have blue sweatpants or some weird shirt with shoulders on it. But anyways,
I remember when Pirates of Darkwater came out and reading a hype article about it in TV Guide, like they were saying, "Is this the show that will dethrone the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" And I was, up to my eyeballs in Ninja Turtles by that point, and I just thought, "No, don't you take my turtles from me, you pirates! No, 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 no!"
It's that cartoon's so good. It still is good.
Yeah,
I watched it a
don't think
couple
I ever
years
watched it.
ago, and I'm like, God dang,
Maybe I need to go back.
it's fun. That cartoon is a lot of fun, and the figures look identical to the characters in the show.
Yeah, they were pretty spot on from what I
I
remember.
think they were made by Playmates, same people who made Ninja Turtles. But, anyways, Greg, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
sharing some of your childhood and talking about Married with Children and all that fun stuff. You want to give? Oh, you actually started a podcast.
Yes.
You want to give that a plug?
Yeah, we're called Yins Down to Listen. It's myself and my Butler Area Toy Show cohort, Rob, just discussing whatever fun stuff we're into at any given point. So look us up on any and all podcasting platforms. Look us up on social media under Yins Down to Listen, YINZDAHN to listen. A little bit of a
Pittsburghese.
Pittsburghese, yeah, and that. And next Butler Area Toy Show is coming up January 25th, as we mentioned. So, if you're in the area and you want to hunt for stuff, we'll see you there.
Yes, I will be there once again. It's a fun show. Lots of goodies always there. And speaking of shows, October 12th, Toy How returns. I saw someone message me, ask me when the next guest announcement will be. If you're watching this, I don't know. But we have Danhausen. We have Harley Cameron. We have Wardlow and some other people at some point in time I will be able to announce whenever I find out who they are. Get your tickets down on Eventbrite, or you get them at Time Capsule Toys. You can always pay for admission at the door. So I want to thank everyone down here at Youngstown Studios and letting us do this thing. Tune in next week for another When We Were Kids.